Aloha, and welcome to the Murph's Place 808 for the Love of Golf podcast. I am your host, Murph. We have a good show for you guys today. It's another lovely day here in Hawaii. It's hard to have bad days when you live in paradise, but there are days when we do have them. We do get a little rain every now and then, and it does get a little chilly at night sometimes. But anyhow, I hope everybody's had a good couple of weeks. I know it's been a couple of weeks since the last show. Still dealing with my hand injury, so I haven't been doing a lot of stuff. Anyhow, we have a special guest today in the studio. We have my buddy, Kui Pai. What's up, Kui?
How's it?
Good, bro. Hey, so I met Kui when I first started coming out here visiting in 2001, and he's a great guy, a fellow golfer, and a kind of a rival in our football teams. He's a Bears fan. I'm a Packers fan, but nevertheless, we still are good friends. So welcome to the show, Kui. What's been going on?
Thank you. Not much. I haven't been playing much golf due to injury that I sustained a few years back. But I still love the game, and I still watch as much as possible. And I've been doing other things like fishing and I can't wait for football to start.
Yeah, I've seen some of your pictures lately of your fishing trips. You guys have been catching some pretty good fish.
Yeah, fishing is called fishing just because nothing is guaranteed.
Right. Yeah. That's my problem with fishing. I don't have the patience to wait hours to try to get a bite.
Yeah, there's been days where you're out 6 to 8 hours and not get anything. So you must love to be on the boat and on the water, and that's a big thing out of it, because most times you will not catch.
Yeah. I love being on the boat and being on the water, but I just if I'm going to be doing that and I'm not catching any fish, it's probably going to lead to a little bit of beer drinking or something to that effect. And I know a couple of our buddies, that's mainly what their deal is on the boat anyhow.
That's exactly a fact, and they don't have bad days.
No.
They'll just enjoy the boat ride and just being outside and away for a little while.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about how you got started playing golf. I know when I first came out here and started visiting, I can't remember if you played a lot. I think you may have came out and played a couple times with Ski and I when we went and played. But when did you start playing golf?
I actually started playing golf, I believe I was 28. So I think I got a late start. I actually thought golf was dumb when I was younger, and I thought the coolest part was riding in the carts and drinking.
Right.
So basically that's all I did for my early 20s. I eventually got involved when I came back here, stationed back here. And
when you say stationed back here, that's because you were in the Air Force, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, thank you for your service.
Thank you. I joined 1 year after I graduated, so in 89 to like 94, I believe.
Okay.
But I started at Lelehua Golf Course. So there
nice.
used to be a guy that was there. I think he was the head. I can't remember his name. He was an older guy. And I took some lessons from him. And he's the one that got me into it. Well, Phil's the one who got me into it, but he's the one that gave me my first lesson. And
was he the pro there?
He was the pro there.
So how many, and that's another thing I usually ask my guests is, my story was I never had any lessons. I never had taken any lessons. I just learned by reading Golf Digest, Golf Magazine. How about, how often did you take lessons? Did you have lessons a lot, or?
Yeah. So initially when I started, I went twice a week and then once a week after that. And I think I got 8 lessons total. And that got me going. I ended up buying my first set of golf clubs from Lelehua, and they were the old King Cobra irons. And I think I had a tailor-made burner driver, the old burners.
Yeah. With the bubble shaft.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first bubble shafts. And when I initially started, I couldn't get enough of it. So we played a lot. And Phil back in the day, he was a good golfer.
Yeah.
He probably was as good as you. When he was playing well, he had a few rounds, I think, in the 60s, but he was always between par and like 76, 77.
Right.
Usually on every round. And he was by far the best guy that we ever played with.
Right.
So I played a lot with those guys, and I kind of wish I got a early start. Several car accidents that I've been in have caused me to take delays in my golf as well as my other physical activities.
Right. Yeah, because you do a lot of stand-up paddleboard surfing, and I know that's one thing that I really enjoyed, and we haven't done it for so long, but that was really fun because obviously you work on Hickam at the harbor, so we would go out to the break out there and stand up paddleboard surf. That was a blast. I didn't do so much standing up at first.
Yeah, I did. You did awesome for someone who has never done it before. You did awesome because there's people that can't even get up.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. That was a good time. We haven't done that for so long though. I mean, and I haven't been able to be in the water. Not even scuba dive. I used to dive a lot when Daryl was here. Yeah, and then Daryl left the island.
Yeah.
And since that time, I haven't even been in the water. And that's not the only reason, but because I've had invitations from a couple of guys. There's a member at Moana Lua, Paul Selfie. He's a diver, and he's invited me on several trips to go dive. But I'm always golfing. I'd rather be on the golf course working on my game than being in the water. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the water, and I want to be in the water also. But you got to pick and choose, and that's what I'm doing. I'm choosing to try to get my game better.
I'm scuba certified as well, and Chris, Miami.
Oh yeah, Miami Chris.
He's an avid diver.
Oh really?
And he has his own boat.
Yeah.
So he goes and he takes people out scuba. Like he's a master diver.
Oh yeah, master diver. Yeah. What do they call Grandmaster or something like that? Dive master. Dive master.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. So he has all his own gear and he has his own boat. So he takes people out every once in a while. I haven't been for a while. I actually got certified through my job.
Yeah.
Because we're supposed to be the ones that set the buoys outside. But yeah, I haven't done that either. And whenever you want to go back out, the last time I went out was last week. And it's always fun.
Yeah, I love diving. And there's some great spots around here to dive at. But so what did you ever have an established handicap?
I did. I think the lowest I ever got, I think, was 16.
16. What do you think you were when you first started?
In the 20s.
And how long do you think it took you to get down to the 16? First off, how often were you playing?
Once. I would try to play at least once a week. If lucky, I would get out twice a week.
Okay.
But I played a lot at the part 3.
Right.
Yeah, I played a lot.
And we had a good group on Tuesdays there. That I really enjoyed playing with you guys, you and Teddy. I see Teddy. He comes to Moanalua where I work. He comes with some buddies there and plays. So I see him every once in a while. But that was a good group. Efren, you, me, Gavin.
Yeah,
that was a fun group to play with.
When I play on Mondays, when I used to play anyway, I'm the one that used to do all the times and make all the calls. I still do it for those guys because they still play, like they try to play at least once a month. I'm going to try to see if they want to go there. I know Teddy's familiar with that place. Efren moved. He lives in California now.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. So he lived there before he came back, and him and his wife decided that they want to move back over there. They got some family over there as well.
Oh, nice.
But the boys are still playing, so that's a good thing. I just hear all the stories.
Yeah. So, well, obviously, with your case, because, and I've said this before in the show, that normally when a person is playing only once a week, it's hard to improve. It's hard to get better. But I think in your case, and you can either agree or disagree with this, I think in your case, you having those lessons, continuing lessons, helped you. Even though you're only playing once a week, you still dropped your handicap down from the 20s to 16.
It did, because
besides playing, did you practice any other times other than that playing once a week?
I tried to, like, maybe I would get out to the range once every other week just to hit balls and try to chip and putt. But I would admit, in my younger days, I did not practice nearly as much as I should have.
Yeah.
But my lessons, what he did almost the entire time, especially in the first few, was just goes over basic stuff. So, and I still, till this day, when my swing is awry, I pretty much know that it's from a few things, and
things that he pointed out to you.
And the grip is probably the main one.
Right.
And I've probably switched my grip maybe 3 times that I can remember anyway. And I like the way that my grip feels now, but it's not the same as when I started.
Yeah. What kind of grip do you have? Is it a neutral? Is it a strong, or is it a
neutral?
A weak?
And it's what do they call it when it's not interlocking, but when it's
overlap. Overlap.
Yeah, overlap.
Yeah, I've always done I used to, when I first started playing, I did interlocking, and I just found it more comfortable to overlap now. So for a long time, I've been overlapping.
When I first started, my swing was a lot longer. But when I was still active duty is when I got into my major car accident, and basically I flipped the car over 8 times.
Oh, lucky to be alive.
Very lucky. I didn't break no bones in my body, but my back was messed up. So in all kind of ways. So since then, that was in 97. So when I started learning golf was a little bit earlier than that. But since that back injury, my swing has gotten a lot shorter. And then over the years, it's gotten a lot shorter. So because of it, I've had to alter my play, the clubs, because of it, I don't hit it as far.
Right. Yeah, when you're changing your swing and shortening it up, there is a tendency that you're going to lose some distance. So you're going to have to change what club you're going to hit. A club that you would hit 150 yards may not be the same club you're going to hit now because of your injury and your lack of being able to make a full turn, or your flexibility because of your back injury. So that's understandable. So I know you're not playing now because of dealing with your injuries. sort of like me with my hand. I mean, I probably could play if I wanted to. Today was a Beach Boy day golf, and we'll get into that in a couple of minutes. But I probably could have played today, but I can still feel a little bit of a twinge when I have my wrist at this angle. So I want to wait until it's completely healed up. Wednesday this week is the deadline for the U.S. Senior Open Championship qualifier here in Hawaii, and I have to make a decision whether or not I'm going to sign up for it. Obviously, with the mid-pack issue, I mean, I lost $340 for 3 holes of golf and a hat and a towel, and I don't want to lose more money if I can't play. Now, granted, the qualifier is not until June, the middle of June, so I have a few weeks. And I'm still, like I said, I'm not going to play until I get this thing completely healed up, because I don't want to go through that again. I couldn't even grip the club. It was so bad. But so I have to make that decision by this Wednesday whether I'm going to sign up for it. And right now I'm leaning towards the way that I'm going to. Speaking of tournaments though, like that, do you play any tournaments? And when I say tournaments, I'm talking about not like scrambles, like a group of guys get together and play, scramble or whatever. I mean, legit tournaments for like through the Hawaii State Golf Association or anything like that.
I have not.
You've never played any tournaments?
I have never played.
Did you have any desire to do that?
I always knew in my own mind that I've never put enough into golf to have expectations that were that high.
Okay.
So,
well, that was going to be my next question. If you, what you wanted to get out of the game, was it a matter of, and I know you're an athletic type person, so I don't know if your competitiveness, I think it is, based on how long I've known you and the things we've done or I've seen, that you're pretty competitive like me, and my competitiveness wanted me to also compete in tournaments, so I had to put that extra time and work in. Like you said, if that's not something that you want to do, then you're good playing once a week, having fun, hanging out with your buddies, drinking beers or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. And I know that I haven't put enough in it, just mainly because I know what my physical capabilities are. And unless I was to, the thing that I always wanted to do was I always wanted to get fitted. Okay. Because I do believe that if and when you do that, that's when you'll make the next leap. Once that happens, you'll know truly what your ceiling can be, because you'll have at least the right tools.
Right.
I know a lot of guys who play now that for whatever reason just get clubs off the shelf. I know most people are like that.
Right.
And that limits their abilities for
right.
what they can do, because if you're not, when it gets into the lay and the lies and all of that stuff, the angles, I know for sure, because I've seen and watched enough golf to know that all of that stuff makes a difference.
Yeah, it definitely does make a difference.
And I'm not willing to go that route just because I know that now it's more obtainable now than it was before, mainly because there's more places doing it.
Right.
I know our buddy Brian did his.
Yeah, Brian did his,
and his game has gone way up.
Yeah, Brian's really improved from the time that he started playing to now. He plays on the VGA tour with us too, and his game has really improved. And I'm kind of hate to see. I do hate, and it's not kind of saddened by the fact that he's going to be leaving us. He's PCSing and going somewhere else. So that kind of sucks, because he's a good guy, and I like playing golf with him, and I like seeing his progression through the game.
Yeah, he's gotten really. I seen him when he first started.
Yeah.
So I know, like, him and I would win some, he would win some.
Right.
And if I play, like, my expectations are, if I play with people who are like me or maybe a little bit like me, I'm going to play to win.
Right.
And I don't care what. I'm going to play to win.
Right.
But everybody that I play with knows that. So it's not a secret.
Right.
He is like that too, but I know now there's no way in hell I would beat him.
Yeah.
No
He's really
way in
improved.
hell.
His game really improved.
And I know one day we played at Turtle Bay, and he just got that the same driver that I got.
Right.
The TaylorMade.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was a shorter hole. I think the number 2 hole on the Palmer. Whichever one that short par 4 is.
With the water on the right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He drove the green. I think it was like 320.
Oh, yeah. So that's hole number, so 1, 2,
I think it's the one
3
right
is
after
the par 5.
the driving
4,
range.
5. Hole number 5.
Okay, yeah. So
Right? Hole number 5 is the one that's got the water on the right-hand side. Bunker short of the green.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 something. Yeah.
So
That's 5.
So he hit the green.
Oh.
I know he hit a good shot.
Yeah.
There was birds on the green, and the birds moved. His ball just rolled up on it.
Right.
Like just getting there, and it was like straight as an arrow. I was like, holy shit. But he's like you, to where if he hits a good one, it's gonna be outstanding. But when he hits a good one and it's like off a little bit,
Right.
then he'll hit it OB.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
he'll still hit it good, but he'll
Right.
still hit it OB. You know, so I think he's worked on his consistency, but his overall game has gotten better. He was not a very good putter when he first started. That was his really bugaboo, but he's been telling me his scores, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, he's been
like
playing some really good golf.
80s,
Yeah.
like 82. I'm like, that's my best round ever.
Yeah, he's been playing some good golf. Good golf.
Did you ever get to play Kalakau?
No. No,
You would
it was
have loved that.
it was they shut that down before I started coming out.
I know, but that was a fun.
That's the one they took out and put housing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
On Schofield.
Yeah,
that was a kind of short course. Fun though, really flat. Some trees, but if you wanted to feel good about your game, you would play Kalakau.
So I'm sure you've played Fort Shafter.
Yeah, once.
Okay, did you play it before or after the renovations?
Before.
Okay, so I never played it before, but I played it since they renovated. They put like $6 million into that place, and it's not a bad track. It's not bad. Myself, Gerald, and Rob and Todd used to go play it. Actually, quite often we played it quite a bit, but it's not a bad course. Let's take a short break, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, I got to tell you, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you how. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Not only that, but Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other sites. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM. All right, welcome back, everybody. We're here with Kui Pai today, my guest here in the studio. We're talking golf, and obviously, Kui, I know you are the biggest Bears fan that I know. There's several on this island, however, and me being a Packers fan. So we will get into some football talk, but before we do that, let's break down what happened this week locally as far as our golf here on the island. Obviously, this Sundays are the Fia match at Moanalua Golf Club, and of course, I know the broken record again. Joe P still retains the belt. Nobody can beat this guy. He's too good. Do you know Joe P, Kui?
I do not.
This guy is. He's one of the best golfers I know.
But he's an assassin.
He's deadly. He does not mess around. Very rarely shoots over par. And it's funny, we just, the Mid-Pac Open was just a couple of weeks ago, the one I had to withdraw from. He played, made the cut, and Dean Wilson also played in it. He played, Dean from the PGA Tour. And Dean played in it, and he was over par. That course was set up so hard. On Sunday, I guess the pins were ridiculous where they had the pins. It was crazy. And Joe P ended up, I want to say he finished, I may have said this in the last podcast, but I want to say 4th or 5th or something like that. He didn't do too bad, but, the guy that won it shot 5 under. He was the only one that was under par. And that's amazing on that course setup that they had. 5 under. Beach Boys golf. Obviously, Beach Boys play on Mondays. I have not been able to play for some time now, so there's no Beach Boys golf for me. And unfortunately, we received a little bit of bad news yesterday that one of our oldest members, and when I'm not saying oldest, I'm not talking about his age, but I'm talking about how long he's been playing in this club. This club was started probably 30 or 40 years ago. It's a very old club. And our last original member that played from the very beginning when this club was formed, and one of the original Beach Boys, Tommy Fa'a, left the island and had to move to the mainland. So he was our last original member that was playing in the club. But we did receive some really bad news that Frank Manuma, one of our, like I said, oldest members that have been playing with the club, is not doing very well and is in the hospital in ICU. So I just ask everybody that's listening, please just throw up a prayer for Frank, because he is one of the greatest guys that I know, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And it's really been rough after getting this news, thinking about him, and I've been praying for him nonstop. So I just ask everybody that's listening, please just say a prayer for my buddy Frank, and hopefully he recovers. It's not COVID. It doesn't have anything to do with COVID. Frank had some back issues and had some surgery a while back, and I think this may be caused from this. So just please, everybody just say a prayer for him. So with that being said, I haven't been playing Beach Boys, and like I said, I'm not going to play until my hand heals up. So PGA news. Obviously, we've had a couple of tournaments since our last talk, and I know, Kui, you follow the PGA a little bit, don't you?
I do.
And who's your favorite golfer on the PGA?
Currently, I'm a fan of...
Or how about this? Give me your top 3.
Top 3 guys I follow is JT,
okay,
Justin Thomas, Ricky. I've always liked Ricky, even though he's not won in forever.
Right.
And the guy that I've been watching lately is Morikawa.
Yeah, Colin Morikawa. Yeah.
Him.
He's in my top 3 also. I would say him, JT, and I'm a fan of Dustin Johnson, man. I really like DJ.
Yeah, I'm not against that guy.
And of course Rory. I'm always a fan of Rory.
He's made a run for a while now. Yeah. I was happy to see Rory won this past.
Yeah. Yep. So 2 weeks ago we had the Valspar Championship. That tournament is played at Innisbrook in Copperhead, or the Copperhead course, which is where we held the Golf Channel Am Tour had their national championship there a few years back, and so I got to play that course. Really nice course, really tough, but kind of surprised. Sam Burns was your winner in that tournament, and I think that was his first win on the PGA Tour. I mean, I've not heard that guy's name. I'll tell you, he's been close a couple of times here in the last few tournaments. He had a chance to win last week or 2 weeks ago. He was close. But Keegan Bradley helped him out a little bit when he hit in the water on hole 13, so that helped him out a little bit, and but he ended up making a couple of birdies at the end to win. So shot 68 and won by 3 shots. So last week we had this past weekend we had the Wells Fargo tournament held at Quail Hollow in North Carolina, and like you mentioned, Rory McIlroy was the winner, which I was glad to see. I'm a fan of Rory, and that turned out to be his 19th win on tour, and he won. He had a 1-shot victory. Did you hear though that he had his neck locked up in his final practice round?
I did hear that.
And so luckily he had a late tee time, so he was able to get it worked out and be able to finish the tournament. So congrats to Rory. Congrats to Sam Burns on their win. The next tournament we got coming up is the AT&T Byron Nelson tournament. That's going to be held in Texas at TPC Craig Ranch. Sun Kang is your defending champion in that tournament. Funny, I didn't see any power rankings for that tournament though. Normally they have the power rankings, and I didn't see anything as far as who's being favored. Have you heard anything about that tournament?
I haven't, and I haven't even. If I remember, I try to always check the field prior to the tournament,
right,
to see who's even in it. But I haven't done that yet, so I haven't seen anything on it. Yeah.
So that'll be the next tournament coming up. Obviously, the FedEx Cup. Leading the FedEx Cup is DeChambeau. Does that surprise you at all?
It does not. I forget what tournament it was where he was in the lead or up there and then didn't win. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Did it go to a playoff?
It may have, or he just missed the playoff. One of the two.
I think it went to a playoff. I forget who it was with, but I thought for sure he should have won it, and I think he 3-putted on that hole.
Yeah.
And couldn't believe it, and end up losing the tournament on that one.
Yeah. How about his game? You saw that he gained all that weight, right?
I did. And he's obviously hitting the ball very far. I'm shocked, not shocked, but to see his short game to be as good as it is. But I think his thing is his putting. When he's putting well, and that's a lot of those guys.
Right.
When they're putting well, he's hard to stop.
Yeah.
Because it is an advantage, and now the way that they're structuring play for these courses is outrageous.
Oh, yeah.
On how far it is, because almost all of them, if not all of them, are hitting driver and then a mid to lower iron to a green,
Right.
Very rarely are they hitting 3 woods unless they're hitting it off the tee.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
It's unreal. When I was active duty, when I was stationed in San Antonio, Phil and I, we volunteered for the Texas Open. And back then, I don't know what course it is at now, but it was this course called La Cantera. And I saw, I held the score for several groups, but one group I had John Daly.
Oh, nice.
And Tom Lehman in the same group.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
That's when John Daly was actually playing well.
Right.
So he hit some amazing shots, but the most amazing shot I saw was Tom Lehman on a par 5 hit a ball. It ended up on the cart path. He had 220, 225 to the green. I thought for sure he's just going to lay it up. I think he hit a 3-iron off the cart path on the green.
Oh, wow.
Probably the most amazing shot I've ever seen.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, those guys are so good. Did you see that shot?
Iron off the fucking
off the cart path onto the green, 210. That's nuts. But it kind of it's not the same, obviously, but you know, have you seen Tony Romo's been playing some Corn Ferry events? Mm-hmm. And do you remember that shot he hit when he hit his ball in the grandstand and then he played it from the grandstand and hit it on the green?
Yeah, I rewatched it several times.
That is crazy. That was such a good shot, man. I couldn't believe he hit it from there. But yeah, I saw he was playing some events on the Corn Ferry. Speaking of the Corn Ferry, our boy Brent Grant from here, he obviously is playing on the Corn Ferry, and I believe this past tournament they played at it was the Simmons Bank Open in Tennessee, and I'm pretty sure that I saw Saturday that I think he had the lead. He was in the lead. He was I know he was number one on the leaderboard, and I don't know if that was at the end of the third day or if it was I saw it before the end of the third day. I want to say it was at the end of the third day. He was in the lead. So then they played the final round obviously yesterday, and he ended up tied for 5th. So congrats to Brent on a good tournament. Keep pushing, keep working hard. You know, we got your back here. We're all rooting for you. We want you to do good, and we want to see you on the PGA Tour. You know, on the Corn Ferry Tour, those guys, the top 25 money winners, get their PGA card. So hopefully he makes it in the top 25 this year, so we can see him on the PGA Tour. Let me ask you, Kui, have you heard about the Super Golf League?
I have not.
So I think I may have mentioned this on the last podcast, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this. So there's a group from, I want to say, like United Arab Emirates. There's a group there that wants to put together this Super Golf League. And what they are trying to do is recruit players from the PGA and the European Tour to form that's going to be a team-based league. So like one of the names that they've thrown out is Phil Mickelson. They've approached him to be a team captain. And apparently they're going to pay these guys a lot of money, like $30 million. And it's team-based, and they do not have the option to pick their own schedule. So whatever the schedule the league comes up with, they have to play. They don't get to opt in or opt out of playing in a tournament. You know, like the PGA guys now, they choose when they want to play. These guys, they won't get to do that. And so they've done some interviews, and I know I saw the interview with JT and with Rory, and they're both like, you know, the PGA's been so good to us, and that's just a money grab. If that's for guys that, you know, just want, if you're playing just for the money, then go do that. But I'm trying to cement my legacy here in the PGA Tour. You know, I'm trying to make history and win tournaments and win majors and leave my legacy here, the PGA Tour. So I've heard the majority of guys that I've heard are not interested in it whatsoever. But you haven't heard anything about that league?
I have not, but I would agree that it is mostly about the money. I would be shocked if the prime name guys would go over.
Yeah, the top. Because that's who they want. They want the top golfers.
Because this sounds like a temporary thing, and I understand the motive behind it. But I like, it's going to be interesting because they're probably going to get some takers. So we'll see, and depending on how it's formatted, will dictate how much. And TV deals make a big difference.
Yeah, right. I mean, what
the PGA is like set.
Yeah, that and I will tell you this, and you can go to and check it out, YouTube or on the PGA website. You can see the commissioner's attitude was they had a meeting, a players meeting, and he was there, and he just basically told everybody, if you lead the PGA Tour for this thing, you will be suspended from the PGA Tour and possibly expelled. Be gone. You'll never get to play the PGA again. Now, somebody like Phil, who's on his way out, his prime is over. There's nothing he's going to accomplish now that's going to make any difference as far as anything goes. I could see him going for the money. Why not? His career's done. He's not going to, you know what I'm saying? If you've noticed, you know that Phil's played a couple of senior events, right? For 2 events, he's won both of them. But it's so odd. He goes and plays well there and comes back to the PGA and misses cuts or doesn't play very good. And I understand that on the senior tour, those courses, they shorten them up for the guys, and it's a slightly not as hard setup as what the PGA puts out normally. So, but I could see him leaving. I cannot see Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa. I can't see those guys leaving for that. Their careers are still ahead of them. They still have a lot of stuff to accomplish.
I agree, and with Phil and with most of these guys, I would think that they have so much money already that even a cash grab, as nice as it sounds, I wouldn't think that they would need it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because it's gonna leave a mark.
Yeah,
and you're gonna be that dude.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, I can't see it sustaining itself.
No,
like you said, there's TV deals. The PGA has, I mean, sponsorships. Who are they going to get to sponsor it? I mean, it's just, and how many, there's nothing set in stone there. And I guess this isn't a new idea. They've thrown this out there before some years ago and it got shot down back then too. So I don't know. I just don't see it happening, but I just wondered if you'd heard anything about that and get your thoughts on that. Let's jump into some NFL. Obviously.
Before that, I would tell you, because we're talking about teams, my favorite golf thing to watch is the Ryder Cup.
Oh, without a doubt.
And it's not close.
No.
Not close. I love the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, the Ryder Cup is awesome. I would
take days off to watch it and tape it and then rewatch it. But I love the Ryder Cup. I love the Solheim Cup. I love all of that stuff.
Yeah. And that's a little different than, this team-based stuff they're talking about doing. Yeah,
absolutely.
But there's no doubt the Ryder Cup, in my opinion, is. I would even put it up there above the Masters. I think the Ryder Cup is.
For me, it is.
It is. I think it is to me too.
Tournament,
right?
And then probably the Players, and then U.S. Open after.
Right.
But the Masters has always been my favorite, but the Ryder Cup is just
the Ryder Cup. I love the Ryder Cup. Yeah,
it's next level. If I ever could go to something, I would want to go to a Ryder Cup.
Oh, really? Okay, yes. So let me ask you this question: Ryder Cup or the Bears in the Super Bowl?
Oh my God! would be stripped of all my allegiance if I never went to a Bears Super Bowl. If I was alive and capable and I didn't go, and I told my already from when we started dating, if the Bears make it to the Super Bowl, I'm going with or without you.
Right. Okay, so obviously I don't, and someday I'm going to do this. I am going to actually start videotaping my podcast. But for those of you that are listening that can't see Kui has on his Bears t-shirt and his Bears gold chain. This guy, I think you might be the only person that I know that reps Bears gear all year long. Doesn't matter if it's football season or baseball season or basketball season. Bro, you rep the Bears gear every day. And I'm giving you props for that. Absolutely. That's awesome in my eyes. But
it's been that way for a long time. Some people call it a sickness. My closet, I honestly could wear something different, Bears, every day for
6 months. At least 6 months.
At least.
That's crazy.
At least.
That's
I still
crazy.
Have shirts from 2002 that I still wear that still look legit.
Wow. So. That's crazy. Well, that's a good segue into what we're going to talk about next. Is let's talk a little bit of NFL football. I know, like I said, you're a Bears fan and the biggest Bears fan that I know of. So, what did you think of your guys' draft?
I loved it, and I know you're a little torn, just because we drafted Justin Fields, and like I mentioned before, I never thought prior to the draft that we would have gotten either him or Mac Jones or Trey Lance. So we know how the draft went. I'm stoked. I think this has been their best draft to date. Around the board. I mean, through the entire thing. Now we'll see what happens when the season comes, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. So our biggest rival has been Green Bay.
Right.
That's your team.
Yeah.
The news lately has been revolved around Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers he's that dude.
Yeah.
People say that Tom Brady is the GOAT. I agree. But in my eyes, there's no, as far as skills and his overall talent, guy that's better than Aaron Rodgers. He's 37. He just won MVP. He played unbelievable this past year.
Right.
As you know already, I'm a big fantasy football guy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So big that I will have Packers on my team.
Right.
Because I'm not stupid. I play that always like I want to win.
Yeah, you play with your head. You don't play with your heart.
No, I do not.
There's guys, I'm going to throw him out there, Ski, and me somewhat. And the only reason it was because I know when you're picking a lot of Baltimore Ravens players, you're not going to win a lot of games. Granted, we had some Packers players also, but you play the game, you play the fantasy game with your head, and you're good at it. You know what guys to pick, and you do your research on it and everything like that. My question is, are you now a Buckeye fan too?
I am.
I know you're right though. It's bittersweet for me because you guys got Justin Fields, who I want to do very well he's a Buckeye. I want him to do good in the NFL, but he happens to be now the quarterback, and I don't know if he'll be starting, but he's going to be the quarterback of our rival team.
I believe once he gets into training camp, and not only the coaches, but in the NFL, when the team sees the player, the team knows who should be the starter.
Yeah.
Like, if the team sees Andy Dalton throwing the ball and they see Justin Fields throwing the ball and running the ball, if he can grasp the playbook, I believe that he's going to be the starter week 1.
Yeah. He definitely has the talent.
Nothing against Andy Dalton, but say Andy Dalton wins a game, and then the first time he struggles, you're going to pull him, and then you're going to put Justin Fields in. So I'd say just play Fields, let him take his bumps and bruises, and just see what he can do.
Yeah.
I think he is that dude.
I think he is too.
That dude.
You know, and I just hope he does. I mean, I always root for the Buckeye players. Being a Buckeye fan, I always root for the Buckeye players in the NFL. We did the Packers. We took a Buckeye player, our center. We took a center. He was, I think he was our second pick. Yeah, Josh Myers in the second round, and so I always root for the Buckeyes. I've just been disappointed in the quarterbacks that come out of Ohio State and go into the NFL because they really haven't turned out to be kind of what you expect them to be once they reach the NFL. And I just hope Justin doesn't fall in line with that. And I hope he excels and is one of our better ones to play in the NFL.
I would agree because we know the guys who came out of Ohio State prior, but I think that this guy he's just different. The way he talks, he has that big game in him. That Clemson game, he was unbelievable.
He was unreal in that game.
Oh my God, he was unreal. Pretty much after that game, I said that he's the dude. Now, I know we talked about it earlier, but you know, with the Jaguars coach
Urban Meyer,
Urban possibly taking Justin Fields, I think maybe it was a thought, but there's so much hype around Trevor that they had their mind made up already. So we'll see.
And I wonder how much of that plays into is the head coach the one that makes that decision, or is it the GM, or is it somebody else? You know what I'm saying? As far as
I think the first pick
maybe Urban Meyer,
everybody.
Maybe Urban wanted to take
everybody. I mean, even the owner is in discussion. When you have the number 1 pick, means that you had a terrible season.
Yeah.
Usually. And that Khan guy is the owner of the Jags. So I'm sure he had a say, or they ran it by him for at least a number 1 pick.
Right.
He knows that his future is on the line as well.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just I don't know. I hope he ends up doing good. So you guys ended up taking, we talked about it, 2 offensive tackles also.
Yes, the next 2 picks were offensive tackles, and actually they traded up in the second to take, his name is Tevin Jenkins. I watched a bunch of film on this guy, and, you know, like, you can only translate a little bit from college to pros. Everybody knows it speeds up.
Right.
Everybody is superstars in college before you go to the NFL, but it's a different game. So we'll see how these guys translate. But they did what is necessary
And you guys needed help on the O-line too,
yes.
right? Yeah.
They felt good enough to let go the starting offensive tackle of the last 6 years. So they obviously feel good about the guys they got in to do that. And they're one of the cap strap teams right now. So that move freed up like 8 or 9 million. So
yeah, and then you guys had 3 picks in the 6th round.
Well, they had 4, but they traded another one of the 6th round picks to trade up again to get that second offensive tackle in like the 5th round.
Right.
So
yeah,
overall,
round,
I think they did pretty well. They got some other guys that are need guys because they didn't sign Cordell Patterson again, the return guy. So they're going to need to get somebody for a return guy. They're getting a couple guys back too. So they'll have Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney. They'll get Tariq Cohen back, Montgomery. They still have Jimmy Graham, who caught 8 touchdowns, who's no slouch down there. Cole Kmet from Notre Dame. He was the rookie last year. It's going to be his 2nd year. So, and then they got a above average defense. So they go as the offense goes. I mean, with Mitch Trubisky, they made the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, teams that make the playoffs is you got to be doing something right.
Right. Exactly.
And we were a kick away from going to the NFC Championship game with Mitch.
Right.
And Mitch played well, but the defense was out of this world.
Yeah.
You know, but then we solved our kicker things. Our guy was one of the best kickers in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys ended up with a decent draft from the looks of it. You got a running back, a wide receiver, cornerback, and a defensive tackle with those other picks. So the Packers, I was okay with their draft. They're not well, they kind of are. They obviously, I think it carried over from when Thompson was the GM that they were never a team where they went after free agents and they always wanted to develop the young guys and through their draft picks and stuff like that. So they ended up first 3 rounds. We got Eric Stokes, cornerback out of Georgia. We got Josh Myers, the center from Ohio State, and Rodgers, wide receiver from Clemson. And then we got 3 more defensive guys and 3 offensive guys. So we got an offensive guard, tackle, and a running back, and then a quarterback, defensive tackle, and linebacker. Obviously, they re-signed Aaron Jones, thanks God. And then there's this talk about Aaron Rodgers. And we talked about this a little bit before the show started, but, you know, there's nothing that's been said out of his mouth. He's not came out and said anything, you know, but there's these sources. And I always crack up when they got these sources. And they had these sources last time when they were talking about him leaving or whatever, and they gave him that big contract. And I don't know. I know he's upset with the GM, the current GM that's in there now. I can't pronounce his last name, Gutenkist or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
He's not happy with that guy, and I think it stems from last year's draft or the year before that when they drafted that quarterback Love, when he felt that they should have went after other players to help him. You know, I don't know if they wanted more receivers or what, but
I know you remember this game. So it was Khalil Mack's first game as a Bear. First game of the season. I think it's Sunday night. Green Bay, Chicago.
Is that the game where he had like 7 sacks?
Yeah. No, yeah. The defense knocks out Rodgers.
Right.
I don't know if Jordan Love was there yet, but it was the other guy.
No, he wasn't there.
Yeah, it was the other backup.
Yeah.
That you never wanted to see.
Right.
Okay. For good reason. He came in and they obliterated that guy. That's the one that Khalil sacked him, strip sack, fumble, and then he almost scored a touchdown.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Up, I think 14 or 18 points, and then Aaron Rodgers came back in the game.
Yeah,
and they end up winning the game.
Yeah,
I was sick to my stomach.
That's not the game that we went to B-Dubs and watch, was it?
No.
Yeah, I remember that game.
I was like, oh my God, is this actually happening?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
he came back in the game after being down on a, and I know like all the things have to happen in that game for a comeback of that nature, because the same defense that knocked him out, that killed the backup quarterback, is the same defense he came back to when he came back in the game.
Right.
But that's how superhuman this guy is.
Yeah, he is, like you said, I don't think he's the greatest of all time. You got to, obviously my heart wants to say that, but that's not true.
No.
You got to use your
7 chips, man.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
No. But I think he's the best QB that's playing in the game right now. As far as playing, like you said, talent-wise and his skill level.
The only guy that's his rival, and a lot of guys will pick this guy because he is who he is too, and that's Mahomes.
Oh, yeah, Mahomes too. I would put him up there too. Yeah, he was my quarterback for fantasy last time.
Yeah, Mahomes is a different animal too.
Yeah, he's a player. He's definitely a player. Yeah. So, okay.
But Green Bay has been Chicago's, not only us, but in my eyes, our number one bugaboo the whole time, in most of my adult life.
Right.
And like we discussed earlier, they went from Brett Favre, 16 years, to Aaron Rodgers for 16 years. So that's 30 plus years of getting tortured.
Yeah.
And that's what it's been.
Yeah.
So other guys have been on the team, and they've had some really good teams. They had that down year last year. Not last year, but the year before
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like one of the best years ever for us. But it's been few and far between. I mean,
yeah.
Nobody can deny it, and you can say whatever you want about Rodgers and Green Bay. For your sake, because besides me being a Bears fan, the most of my real friends are Green Bay fans. I've lightened my stance on the whole hatred thing. Now it's mostly a respect thing, and I understand that we are, you hear this all, like, we are who we're gonna be. They are who they're gonna be, and as long as they have those guys like Rodgers, like, it's not only him, but he makes that truck go. He makes that bus go, and if he's not playing for Green Bay, it's gonna give everybody like a chance to do something. And this is just like, I'm not discounting Jordan Love.
Right.
Because they took this guy for a reason.
Yeah.
And he could be the next dude.
He could be.
And then we could be tortured even longer.
But he could be the next Don Mikowski too. So
he could be, but you already know what you're getting in Rodgers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Okay, let's take a short break and we'll be right back. This podcast is brought to you by Smart Boy Studios, the best studio and artist collective out of Ohio. Smart Boy Studios provides recording, mixing, and mastering services, as well as any other audio post-production you need. Smart Boy entertainment artist Corey Gossett is dropping a song every single week this year. Stay up to date by following him on Spotify or Apple Music by searching Corey Gossett or on Instagram or Twitter under @KidWhoCameBack. Friday, March 26th, JV Tree is dropping his sophomore album, Oakwood Hills, featuring C Money Baby, 10 Tempo, Eamon Jones, D Knight, Corey Gossett, and Joey is Fire. It's the perfect soundtrack to start off the spring. Also on March 26th, Zachary Leon is releasing another short EP of West Coast influenced cruising songs, including another feature from C Money Baby. DeCasso also dropped a song recently titled All Right, if you need a pick-me-up today. Head to www.smartboystudios.com to stay up to date on new music, new videos, and any upcoming events. If you'd like to support Smart Boy Studios and their artists, visit threads.smartboystudios.com to check out their merch. They offer hoodies, hats, shirts, and more. All right, welcome back, everybody. Well, like we were saying, your biggest anticipation is football season, obviously, and mine too, in a way, not nearly as much as yours, but hopefully we will have a good season. Both of our teams will have a good season, and we'll both end up playing in the NFC Championship game for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. As far as golf goes, and I always ask my guests that I have on the show, what kind of advice could you give to somebody as being a player that started out as late as you did, and you did have the advantage of taking lessons, so that did help you in your desire to become a better golfer. But what kind of advice would you give somebody just starting out golfing, and what they should do to improve their game? Do you think they should take lessons? Do you think they should go kind of the route I did, which was just reading Golf Digest, Golf Magazine, and then go out and practicing that stuff? What do you think they should do?
Well, depending on what your range of how you want your golf to be. So, if you want to be a casual golfer, if you want to enter tournaments, if you want to just beat your friends, then it depends on what level you want to be at. But if you wanted to, say, be before I stopped playing, I was shooting in the low 90s. If I had a very good day, it would be in the upper 80s. My best round ever is 82 at Navy Marine. But to start, I would at least take lessons. If you could start and you could get fitted when you started, I think you would be a notch above everybody else. Because one, you would have, and if you went this route, you would have the right clubs to match your swing. So once they would formulate your swing, then they could match your swing with the clubs, and that would get you to play better. Ideally, if I started again, that's the way I would do it.
Yeah.
Lessons together with trying to get your, fitted. I think that's the way to go, though. If you really, because then you'll be you'll be off. You should be a lot more advanced than the guys doing all the other stuff.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that too. And a lot of times, people say the same for the most part, that it all depends on what you want to get out of the game. If you're trying to play tournaments, then you're going to need to put the work in. But if you just want to have fun, then just go have fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. It all depends on what you want to get out of it. So If you're that type of person that just wants to go out and have fun, drink beers, hang out with your buddies, that's perfect. Play once a week, play once a month, whatever you want to do. I wish I would have started at a younger age. I was the same. I didn't start till I was 26, 27 years old. So I wish I would have started when I was 7 and taken lessons and all that stuff. But, you can't change the past. So all you can do is work to make it better. If you guys have any questions or topics you want us to discuss on the podcast, shoot me an email at murphsplace808@gmail.com. Or if you have any rules questions or anything, topics you want to cover, want me to talk about. And Kui, I appreciate you coming on the show today. And let's get you back on here again when you get healed up and start playing golf. Do you have any type of timeline when you might be going back and playing more?
I've currently been seeing my chiropractor again, and so my body feels a little bit better. Right now, it's not mainly my back; it's my shoulder that's bothering me. And I tried swinging, but the harder I swing, the worse it hurts. My range of motion was already short, and now it's gotten shorter. So I've probably hit 10 balls in the last year.
Wow.
So
is it a rotator cuff or do you know what?
I broke my clavicle.
Right.
And since then, like, I got therapy to get back, but my range of motion has deteriorated over at least the last year. So
right.
I know, like, even lifting it over my head causes me discomfort.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So, and I really did try to swing.
Yeah. I've been lucky. I've been pretty lucky then, because I remember I broke my clavicle up at Waimea Bay, in February of that one year, and so I haven't had any issues. Knock on wood. I don't have any wood near me to knock on my head.
That's incredible.
But yeah, I haven't had any issues as far as the swing or lifting my arm up or anything like that. So I was pretty lucky in that. I was lucky I didn't break my neck actually in that body surfing incident.
Yeah, even to the touch, in some places it hurts.
Wow.
Yeah, who was with you that day?
Tammy, my friend Tammy from Ohio. Well, actually, she's like my little sister.
I remember her.
She came to visit, and I thought, okay.
I remember that day.
Waimea is a good beach. I love that beach.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking February, North Shore. We get up there, and there's 8 to 12 foot shore break, and so I'm like, there's still people out there swimming, and a lot of them have boogie boards, bodyboard, and but I didn't bring any boards or anything because I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't even thinking, and so we just went out and was swimming, diving in the waves, and she got hit by a couple of big waves, and she crawled up on the beach there to take a break, and I stayed out there swimming, diving in the waves. There's tons of people out there, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna body surf this wave in. So waves coming. I paddle, get my buddy. I'm on the wave, water splashing in my eyes. I have contacts in, so I close my eyes and stretch my hands out to like glide up on the beach. The only problem was I wasn't down here on the wave. I was up here, the 8 to 12 foot part, and when it broke at the shore, it turned and slammed me straight down into the beach right on my shoulder and broke my clavicle. As soon as I hit, I felt it break. And then, so I was like on my knees at the edge of the water in the sand, and I was moving my arm, and I could feel it clicking. And she's a nurse, and so
it's like knocking. Huh?
Yeah, and then so she's a nurse, and she's like, "Are you all right?" I go, "No, I broke my collarbone. I've done this before, not doing that, but ran into a wall playing basketball and broke it. But so she luckily could drive a stick because my Jeep is a stick, so." She drove me to the hospital, and we got it taken care of. And all they did was they gave me a harness to wear. I didn't even.
You were probably better off just body surfing than bodyboarding, because if you were on a board, your injury could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Than that, because you could have still had the same injury, but like I had something like that too. They call that going over the falls, by the way. So I went like that too as well. This is at Sandy's.
With a board.
With a board.
Yeah.
Landed on my back. The board landed on me. Broke my nose. And then held me down. So it was like
had you pinned
in the sand. And it had me pinned literally.
Oh my God.
Until it washed over. And then I came up again, and then the next wave hit me on the head.
Jeez. Yeah. Sandy's can get pretty rough too out there. But and that's rough there, kind of like off and on all year long. It's not like
it's not for the amateurs.
It's not like North Shore, where normally in the summertime it's not bad. In the wintertime they get big waves up there. So well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I apologize to those listeners that aren't into football, but of course, if I've got Kui on the show, we're going to talk a little bit of football. So, like I said, if you guys have any questions or topics, just shoot me an email, murphsplace808@gmail.com. If you also would like to support the podcast, there's a link down there that you can click on to help support the podcast and keep bringing you guys shows. So I want to thank everybody for sticking around and listening. If you guys are playing golf, hit them straight, hit them long, but don't hit them often. I hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you guys next week. Aloha. Thanks, Kui.
Thank you.